And yes, we're here. We're live. We were a little distracted because we were looking at the cute little scout behind Allison playing with this
Yeah, I
little
think he's
Boo
moved. Oh
Bear.
no, he's right there. There he is.
They're scouts.
Scout,
Now, where's Miss
scout.
Carol D when you need her? Huh, baby? Look at that face.
He can't hear anything anymore. I still talk to him, but he can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I still
What?
talk to him all the time.
What?
Yeah, he can't hear anything.
Exactly. So, hello everybody. I hope you had a great week. It's been an interesting one. It's been a busy day. I know,
Yeah.
Nancy. Isn't he adorable? And Shelby was like, "Oh, Scouty." And
Thank
so
you.
yes, before we get started, wow, we have everyone already waiting for us. Let me see. First up, before everybody, was Magus. So, hello, Magus. I hope you're having a beautiful day in Asha. Thank you for dropping by and sending Allison and I much love. We appreciate you. And Tom, early ritual is actually early. So, hey, Tom. And so is Nancy. Oh, and speaking of Tom, really quick, everybody, make sure to check out Tom's channel. He has done 2 uploads this week of new decks that he has gotten. This last one is very cool. I highly recommend. Tom, I can't remember the name of the author, but some very interesting artwork. So be sure to go over and subscribe to Tom. So I think he's getting inspired. I've been kind of like, come on, videos, videos. So go over, subscribe, check out these decks. Very cool. So let's see, who else do we have? Everyone's saying hello. Oh, Tom goes, it happens occasionally, Heather. Yes. I like you more, Tom, when you're early than late, but I'll take every little in between. Oh, look at that. Miss Taro D, where are you? Your baby is here. I'll have to let her know at 5 was it 5:04 or whatever time 8:04 her time, and check the video. There's her scout. So let's see who else. Oh, we have Selena, Essence of the Moon. Hello, Selena. And Selena, I saw a book yesterday at Sound Piece, and I think you might have it. It is a spell book on when you need help with creating protection, boundaries, and something else. And the front cover was really pretty. It was bright, almost like Mexican fiesta like colors. Really cool. Black cover with the colorful designs on it. I think you might have that. And if you do, let me know because I'm thinking about maybe getting that. So everyone is saying, oh, Selena's like, oh, guess what, Tom? And what did she say? I ordered more. He sent an email and ordered more from his shop. Ooh, do tell, do tell. Somebody with the last name of McHenry. I'll have to check Selena to see what all these goodies are about. So everyone's saying hello, sharing love. Oh, here we go. The anti-hero red deck, Eccles, Sigil, Oracle, Seal, a Solomon Tarot Bag, and Baphomet Tarot Box. Girl, it's like Christmas in July for you. And Tom's nice, awesome. It's always fun to get things in the mail. And I'm expecting a wonderful package in the mail tomorrow. So I may have to do a pop up and share with everybody. So Janet Lee is here. Hello, Janet. And thank you, Janet, too, for joining me last night for the new moon readings. It was nice to have you in chat. There's Shelby saying hello. And let's see. Everyone's still saying hello. Let's see. Taps on watch, points to clock. Sheesh, always so late. You usually are, but that's okay. Like I said, we still love you. And let's see. Oh, there we go. The Daniel Martin Diaz, his Myth Oracle deck. There were some strange images, but I really liked a lot of the images. The cards, they were very cool. So nice find, Tom. Let's see. Oh, Mexican. I have one I'm reviewing. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's necessarily Mexican, but the colors make me think of the fiesta, like in some of your other books. So I may go back down there this weekend, although I try to avoid downtown Ashland during the summer tourist season, especially with the heat, because sometimes it's kind of hard to get a parking spot. So, and let's see. Oh, Carolina has joined us. Hello, Carolina. And I'm expecting some goodies too from her in the mail. So, very much excited. And already I am caught up with everybody that has joined us so far. I mean, I have a lot to say. Did you want to go
No, you
first?
go ahead and I'll be 2 seconds.
Okay.
Scout fluffed his blanket up all crazy. I'll be right back.
Oh, how adorable. Okay, so all this yapping needed. Oh, yes, Tom, tree update. So I went there today. Today was a very busy day. So first stop was Lithia Park, and I went did a further walk, which was lovely, into the park. But I went to that same spot twice. One because there were some people doing some video and some photography, and I didn't want them, to get in their way, and I needed to kind of, redo, So I went ahead, took some pictures of that area. And I went for my hike. I was there for about an hour. It was beautiful. The smells, the cedar trees, all the foliage, all the other trees that are there, the plants. It was just a beautiful day. The creek, I found a spot where I could walk down safely down the bank. I got to put my feet in the water. And I got to say hi to a little crayfish that was in the water, which I kind of maybe took a little bit as a symbol. I wrote down, so we all know crayfish is usually a major symbol on the moon card. So I might have had a moon card um, um, message coming through today. And let's see, what did Shelby says? Santa's on vacation, sunbathing, getting a tan. So after all that wonderful walk, I went ahead and went back to that spot they had gone. And I just kind of walked around, looked, took pictures. I looked. So for people who don't know, Allison grew Allison Allison grew a mustache.
When I came back, I changed my avatar to my handsome son.
Yes.
But go ahead.
She's going to get to be seen pretty soon, so that's going to be lovely. So I went back to that spot. So for people who don't know, really quick, was it last week or the week? No, a couple weeks ago. It was what, July 2nd or whatever. Shannon and I found
2
a
weeks.
spot. Found the spot
2 weeks.
that is in the shade by the creek, and he can sit there, play his guitar. I can do my sketching and everything. And I was taking pictures of trees and whatnot, and not really thinking about, nothing really occurred to me. I just like the shape of the branches and the trunks and everything. So fast forward to, was it earlier this week or last weekend? I'm going through the pictures on my iPad because it's bigger, I can see them better, trying to figure out what I want to use for my next canvas. And I come across this picture and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell is that? And so I'm just going to backtrack it here, because Heather thought she caught something. And let's see, that's it too far. So give me y'all a second. Okay. So I'm going to try to, how am I going to do this here? Let's do it this way. So, alrighty, this is the photo. So it's kind of hard to shoot. It's going to be hard to see. Trying to figure out how to douse the light, but there is something behind this tree. And again, it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's not going to let me show it unless I do it really large. Does that work? Yeah, so you can kind of see that there's something. No, you can't. Well, in this picture, and I can post it to my page later on, there is what looks like to be a female figure behind this tree that I took a picture of. And I'm looking at going, that was not there when I took this picture. I do not remember that. And so I'm enlarging it, looking at it. And for me, I was seeing, of course, there's color. It looks like a female figure. I see something that makes me think of the shape or the hint of a bosom. in the top part. And I'm like, I know there were no trees that had all different colors on them. I'm pretty sure I didn't see fabric. So the first person I sent it off to was Tom. And then even Tom was like, what the, whoa, wait, what? So for Tom to even hesitate and go, Tom, help me debunk this. And so I sent it to Allison, and Allison's like, girl, what? So between the both of them, um, we were kind of curious about what this is. Allison thinks it's just like a play of light because of the light of the trees and maybe bouncing off and creating a color. So I told her and Tom that at some point this week I'm going to go back and to the park and I'm going to take a look. And I had a chance to go today because I was invited to a new place I'm going to share about in Ashland. And so I went to that place. I'm taking pictures going and I'm kind of looking around the tree. I'm like, I don't see anything that resembles what I caught in this picture. But I took a few pictures and I left because there were people there doing their thing. And I came back, it was quiet, no one was there. And so I kind of took some more. So I took about at least, I think, at least 5 to 6 pictures, if not more, from different angles, walking around the tree, looking up in the tree, thinking maybe it was a piece of fabric that someone or a shirt that someone threw up. Because every now and then you'll see shirts hanging, half in the water or in the trees. So I went there and I tried to recreate this picture and I couldn't. So what is it? I don't know. So tonight I'm going to go back through on my iPad, look at the pictures and pick out a few to show different angles. And I'm going to send it to Allison and Tom and let them see what, I caught. So but yeah, it looked like fabric. Yeah, but there was nothing there, and I know that there wasn't any fabric because if I had seen something like that, I would have taken it out of the tree and put it off to the side or put it in the garbage or something. I wouldn't have left that. And Tom says I think it's Cleopatra's cat. uh, so and let's see, Shelby is going for a walk. Enjoy your walk, my dear. I know I enjoyed mine today. So, Janice says, looks like a fairy. But the thing is, in the picture, when you enlarge it, you can't see now where this I don't want to say figure, but where this object is. Now, if it was a person, they could be standing there because where this person was pretty close to the embankment that goes into the creek. And so, um, and there was no tree behind it at that angle. There was one a little over, but I walked around and I'm like, I don't see any other tree from this angle. So we looked at the picture some more. With the branches, there was really no way of seeing a head or anything. Just this little snippet of color. And so right now, you know, it's it's out. We don't quite know what it is. So I'll make sure that I can post that to my community page. I think I get a community page now, no matter what, depending on how many subscribers I have. So um, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And Tom also said, the skeptic in me is agreeing with Allison. It's reflections and light play that's causing pareidolia. Could very well be. But it was just really weird how I didn't even see that because I was sitting there with my chair, with my sketch pad, taking pictures from my spot and getting up and doing that so I can bring them home to work on ideas later on for painting. So who knows? You're muted.
So can I comment now?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
Okay, so what I was going to say is this I wasn't even going to say, but something you just said made me think about it. So what you saw with your eyes is very possibly not what the camera picked up because there's glass and reflection and all that kind of stuff. There is a lot of light play going on. The picture is very cool. When she sent it to me, I had to look at it twice. At first glance, quick first glance before you start analyzing the picture at all, it kind of looks like the bark on a tree, sort of, but there's no tree above the thing that we're looking at. There's nothing there.
Mhm.
So it's not a tree unless it's a tree that got cut off, but it's too high for that. It's not a tree. And when you look at it really closely, it almost looks like a pattern. But there's dappled light all over the place. And so it's a very cool play on the lighting, wherever the sun and how it was sitting and reflecting and da 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 da. And my guess would be that your eye just didn't see what the camera picked up. And so when you went back and actually reviewed your photos, that's the first time you saw it. Unrelated, I have a picture thing that I'd like to mention, if I can mention it now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just super quick, my son just got back to California yesterday. Yay, he's not overseas anymore because he's been gone for 3 weeks, and then he'll be home with me on Monday. But anyways, they just got back to California, blah, 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 blah. One of their last days that they were there, after they were done in Spain, they went back to London for a couple days. And while they were there, they were at some park that they were at the last time they were there 10 years ago. And my son and his sister sat on a bench with ice cream and popsicle, and a photo was taken. And so they recreated that picture on this trip just the other day, you know, and they both had the same. Wyatt had the popsicle, and Harper, his sister, had the ice cream, and they sat next to each other the same way and all that. And it was cute because Harper had ice cream smeared on her face, and she smeared it the same way for the picture. It was super cute. But something interesting, and I don't think there's anything woo-woo about it, but it was just an interesting coincidence. Over my son's right shoulder, there's another park bench under a tree, and it shows up the same way in both pictures. And there's an older man sitting in the same spot with the same posture, with his hands in front of him like this, and he's leaning forward, like with his elbows at or around his knees. He looks about 10 years older in the picture, roughly. And like, I don't think it's the same guy. It could be. It's not an apparition or anything like that. It's not what I'm saying. But and I'm the one that noticed it, and nobody else had said anything. So this is all through text, right? My son's, you know, in London when I saw this. And glasses, just all of it. Very, very same spot on the bench. It was just very, just ironic. It was so funny. And I actually did go ahead and send it to Heather. I'm like, check this out. I'm like, yeah, cute picture of my son and his sister, but check out the guy over his right shoulder.
Even I didn't see it. She had to point it out. Yep.
And it, you know, it's just funny.
And of course, Heather's really first idea was, oh, could that be one of, Wyatt's, ancestors, like a grandfather, you know what I mean, or something like that.
Yeah, again, like, there's an age progression. It does not look like, but it does at a distance, and I'm not saying it is at all. In fact, it's highly unlikely. But honestly, you take somebody like, my grandfather, and that's just a coincidence, who did the same walk to the grocery store every single morning to buy the newspaper with his dog around the same time every single day when he could have had it delivered. But that was his walk with his dog, and he'd walk all the way to the grocery store. It was like 5 or 6 blocks, and he'd go get, not really that far, honestly, but it was an excuse for him probably to get away from my grandma's yapping and to go and just get outside and do all of his training with his dog, because he was one of those that had his he had a dog. He had several dogs, but Champ was the one that he ended up teaching the most things. And he'd have Champ sit on the corner, and he'd say, "All right, and you sit and stay." I can hear him. And he'd walk across the street And then he'd say, and he'd look and say, all right, come on. And he didn't use real commands, but he'd say the same things all the time. And he did all these really quiet little neighborhood with no traffic and whatever. But anyways, it was just funny. I was thinking, well, it could be the same guy because I know there's other people out there like my grandpa that did the
Yeah,
same
routine.
thing
Yeah.
every day. Maybe that guy goes and sits on the bench from whatever. I don't know if
My
they were there at
father
the same
did
time
too.
of day, but
Hmm.
you know, he goes every afternoon and he sits there, you know, halfway through his walk or whatever. But it was just fun, regardless. It was cool to pick that up in the picture.
Yeah, my dad every day, because he worked two jobs, the same two jobs for 40 years. And he would finish one, go grab something to eat, go to the same park, pretty much park in the same spot, have his lunch or whatever for between the hour before he had to go to the second job. And that was pretty much routine for him, until, he had to do things for me. But yeah, some people enjoy their routine. I know I did. And Britt has joined us, and that is, did someone say shenanigans? That's Britt. And she says, that reminds me of my buddy Freddie. He jokes that he takes walks in the evening to get a break from his wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my granny was uh like my grandpa would spend so much time in the garage just tinkering around and doing stuff.
Hi, Audra.
And he loved her to death and she loved him. And they
Oh, we
actually got
knew.
along really well, but she was a
Hmm.
lot. And my
Yeah.
grandpa was super zen. My sister jokes around and called him the Buddha. My grandpa was the nicest man I think I've ever known. He was so
Oh,
loving and kind and very positive. And he came from really rough upbringing. He was just grateful for everything he had, always, every day.
that's good.
And yeah, he was awesome.
So, yeah. Let's see. Audra has also joined us. Hello, Audra. And I said, Audra, I think you said you are on hiatus now for the bow and arrow on the horse competitions, but I think you said a friend of yours or one of your teammates was going into the championships. I don't know if that happened yet. So, if you have any updates on who won or how well they did, please let us know. Audra's the one that's been learning how to ride horseback while shooting the bow and arrow like the Mongolians did into a
What
hooper.
is that called?
I know, yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it's archery, but what's the proper terminology,
yeah, Audra, what's that that
Audra?
you do? That I would love to get that name. So, alrighty, and today, unless you want to share something else, I can go into something. I went, and this is something everyone can find on online. There is a place that just opened up a couple months ago. I was supposed to meet. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. There are two on September 19th to the 21st in our group. It's called Mounted Archery. Okay. Thank you, my dear. So originally I was going to meet Amy from Esoteric Rose today at this new place that she told me about. She couldn't make it, but I still went after going to Lithia Park. I met a woman who does bone readings.
Oh,
So I
cool.
can't wait to save up and have some a bone reading done. And I asked her, I go, I have animal bones too. I've been wanting to learn something like that. Are you going to be doing workshops? And she says, I think I might have something planned here because there's this new, it's it looks small. If you blink, you'll miss it, but it goes up and into the back of the building. But it's called the Artemisia Institute. And of course, Artemisia was the Artemisia Gentileschi, if I'm pronouncing that right. She was during the only really well-known female artist during the Renaissance period, and she had some very violent paintings from the Bible that she depicted. She came from a wealthy family, and the master or mentor that her father gave her to teach her to develop her skill. Let's just say took advantage of her unwillingly on her part, and later on having to marry him. But she took a lot of that of her trauma and what her situation, and she did these. massive paintings. There's one where I can't remember who, because I don't really deal with the Bible. But there's a story where one of them cuts off the head of somebody in the Bible while he's sleeping, and she did a painting on that. I mean, some of it was just like wow, but she was a phenomenal Renaissance. There was a lot of women back then and over the years that have been phenomenal painters, but because they're not men, they don't get as much recognition. But she stands out as the one that gets mentioned when they speak about Renaissance. And so, Artemisia Institute, they offer brand new, so they've only been open for 2 months. But I met Desiree. She's the one that does the bone casting. She does healing as well at the store. And I met Regina, and I met a poodle named Sage. She's beautiful. She's kind of got a growth on her neck that they're trying to, it's benign, it's not cancerous, but they're trying to send energy and give her, herbs and things to help kind of see they can shrink it a little bit before doing surgery. So I got to meet her today too, and did some Reiki on her, which I haven't done in I can't tell you how many years. So she ended up laying right next to me on the floor, and I got down on the floor next to her, and I did my thing, which was really sweet. She trusted me, so that really touched me. And so this place, they offer workshops. There's actually one, Tom, that I want to take. They've already done one. They're probably going to do it again, but it's studying the Hermetic cross or Hermetic studies to handle everything that's kind of going on in the world today. So next time that workshop pops up, it's free. I'm definitely going to take that. But they also teach life skills. They have programs for kids that they want to do workshops and getting kids out of the house, getting them into nature, teaching them how to do knots, how to do survival skills, like camping and fire. I don't necessarily like fire, during this season, but basic survival skills. They do fine arts. I've been invited to come by and show some of my work during First Fridays. So my first invitation to show work at a place here at Ashland. And they sell, they have some drinks. I had an amazing drink today made out of rose, maca or matcha, and cacao, pure cacao, which was absolutely delicious. There's drums there. There's a person that's going to be performing. So as you go in the space, there's couches, there's chairs. You can sit, come in, relax, have a drink, relax, talk to people. You can have readings done there. They focus on spiritual stuff. So I really just kind of connected. And when I asked Regina today if anybody is doing women's circles, like for full moon or something, she says no, but she goes, I'm wondering if you might want to do that. So she took my name and number, and she's going to pass it along to the owner. And I explained to her the ones I've been involved in Arizona when I was younger, and wanted to do something not like huge ceremonial, but just have women come together during like a full moon period, we'll cast a sacred space, and we can do projects, or we can talk, share poetry, do different things like I did when I was younger and in my 30s. So I have that prospect. So I met some very wonderful people today. So, and on top of walking in the woods and everything, it was just absolutely wonderful. So, that's what I have. And so, Allison, anything else you want to share of your week?
That's
So I
awesome.
don't hog it all. Yes, I can't wait.
That'd be really good for you.
Most definitely.
I was just really busy this week. I got a lot done. It's a little too much. I don't like to be quite as busy as I've been, but it's okay. I got a lot done, and everything will calm down once Wyatt gets here on Monday. And then I do have some things I have to get done on Tuesday, but after that, it should calm down a bit, which is nice. Actually, hold on one second.
Okay. So we have coming up that Lionsgate. So I think Allison and I might talk about it. Now, the Lionsgate isn't until actually technically till the 8th of August. And so I guess Allison should be interested in talking about that. And she said she doesn't know much of it, so I'm going to share that and save that for a little bit later. Um, a wonderful documentary that I saw that I recommended during my live last night. Nancy, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but it's called Sensitive, and and it's a documentary on the woman who discovered and researched and wrote some books on FH. So it's FHS people. No, excuse me, highly sensitive people. So it's HSP. And a part of the documentary, they spoke with Alanis Morissette. She appears in the documentary a couple times. They feature other people as well, you know, people in the profession, and giving examples of children and adults. So that because nowadays people, you know, putting, well, you must be autistic or you must have a mental health or you're emotionally disturbed. But this woman ended up discovering something which she thinks is the highly sensitive person, and it's a wonderful documentary. It's free on Tubi, and at some point, Alice and I will be able to talk about it. I just thought it was very fascinating, especially you know in our day and age now too, where everything is so intense, and some kids are being you know like art and all creativity, a lot of things like this are being taken out of the schools, and so much math and science, and a lot of things are being pushed on a lot of young kids. And then of course, you know, with social media and everything, when I was watching this, I could really relate to a lot of that, especially with what I went through as a child, and kind of now how I am and how I resonate with, you know, because they don't even talk about children with they're highly sensitive, but they also talk about adults and how sometimes they struggle in the workplace and finding ways for them to thrive, you know, in the world with, you know, their sensibilities. And so I really recommend that documentary. And so let's see, all kinds of things opening up. Yes. And Shelby is back. Welcome back. So, was there anything else? I don't think you got a chance to watch that yet because I know you've been busy with Wyatt coming to visit. So, that'll be on a later episode. And Allison said she'll give it a shot and watch it. We may or may not be in, she may not be as interested or connected to it as I am. And that's okay. And so if she does watch it and finds it interesting, wants to share, we'll do a show on that.
How long is it?
It's only like about an hour and 24 minutes. It's not very long. Not very long at all. So yes, I'm starting to kind of, Shant's been getting into watching, you know, videos on different aspects of people that are, you know, extroverted, introverted. There's all these acronyms now. But when he came across that and saw that Alanis is in there, and we both, you know, enjoy her music. And I remember her and Tori Amos when I was younger, getting me through a lot of stuff that I was going through. And, you know, along with Ani and all of them, I was like, oh yeah, let me watch this. So that was, I really enjoyed it. And so I may be looking into more of those videos as well. But yeah, so we may or may not discuss it. We'll see. But I highly recommend it. And again, it's free on Tubi. So if you have Tubi, just type in sensitive and boom, and you'll know it's the right documentary, because even though she isn't in the whole video, they do, you know, they do use her face, I think, to help, you know, garner some, maybe some more interest, you know, from the public. But they talk to the author. They talk to other people, you know, in the field. And so it's to me, it's well rounded, you know, there's a lot of different perspectives that are shared and stories that are shared. So yeah, for now that's what I have. I have something else, but I'm just going to sit back and see if there's anything else that you wanted to share. that you've been?
Can't think of anything. Like I said, I've just been getting ready for my kid showing up, and I had to uh, just personal stuff with health insurance and getting that straightened out and
Oh
making sure
yeah.
that it was going to be billed right before I went and all that because I can't stand it. And then you got to figure blah, 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 blah.
Same here.
Did all that legwork and sitting on the phone, and then I did go to the doctor and had my appointment, and then just getting stuff ready before my son comes, and because I don't have space for him now because I got rid of my couch and everything, so I have to figure out how I'm going to have him. I don't know how much. Well, he'll sleep here. I'm giving him my room basically, and I'll just stay at Anthony's. But for the most part, but then he'll also stay at a friend's and blah 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 blah. Just
Any
trying to
fun
get ducks in
plans?
a row and grocery shopping and everything else. What'd you say?
Any fun plans already that you guys have for next week or
No,
play
I
by
mean he's
ear?
gonna be here for like 3 weeks, so we'll
Oh,
do
that's a long time. That's good.
whatever. Anthony and I are going out to dinner tomorrow, although we're going to what's it, Texas Day, Brazil. Am I calling that the right thing? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I am. Um, it's our anniversary. And what else? And then Wyatt arrives Monday morning. And oh, I gave Scout a bath last night, and that was a total. I'm never gonna do it again. Never gonna do it again. I'll give a snippet story. How's that? When I got Scout, and I've had him for, I always have to do the math because I can never freaking remember. I moved to Michigan in October of 2017. My mom died December 18th, so I got Scout November of 2019. And when I got him, he was still healing on his lower doggy back right above his tail from where he'd had a really bad flea infestation, allergic reaction on his skin. And so he had lost fur in his skin because I guess it's fairly common. I never had any dogs that had it, but some dogs are actually allergic to the bites from the fleas. So he's got, actually, if you know him and you see him, that area on his lower back is thinner than the rest of his plush coat. I mean, he totally grows in fur, and you don't even notice it unless, I don't know, you're super aware or whatever. So he's very sensitive of that area. I think he's got a little bit of nerve damage. And the first time I took him, when I first got him, he had been washed when I adopted him, but he was kind of dingy because they'd only given him medical baths, which is like it's not a real bath. And so he was a little, I could tell how, not that it mattered, I was going to adopt him anyway, but I could tell how beautiful he was going to be. And he's gorgeous. But he was a little underweight, and his whole coat was a little thin, and he had kind of like a balding, but the skin was coming in space. But he was so sweet. He had the cutest demeanor in that face. I was just like, oh yeah, I got to get this dog. And anyways, much to my horror, and I felt so bad when I first got him, I was a little nervous about washing him. And I went back and forth about it, and I finally decided to take him to the local. It is a store, but they do like a whole grooming service and all that. And I never do grooming services for my dogs. I always do them myself. Well, anyways, I took him in there because I just didn't know this dog. I wasn't, and I'm like, they're professionals. They know what they're doing, and I explained in detail this is me, right? So I talked it to death, right? I explained the shit to nauseum, right? Well, sure enough, some ding dong gave him a bath, and he freaked out because they don't use hot water on the dogs, but he needed to have cool water. on his back, and she used warm water. And I don't know if it was that or both or what. It was a bad experience. So when I went to pick him up, they had washed him, but they didn't do a fabulous job. I made sure they did not charge me. They wanted to. I was like, no, you're not charging me. And anyways, so, but I washed him every time after that. And he's never liked it. I've never had a dog that disliked a bath like him. So the last time I washed him, and I only wash him twice a year. And that might be like, oh my God. Nope. That's how often, thank God, he needs to be washed. His coat, and I've talked to the vet and everything else, and he has a repelling coat, as they call it, which means like anything that's on him, it just falls away. He's not oily. He's actually dry. She said I could wash him 2 to 4 times a year, no more. So really, I do wash him every quarter. But I did miss one somewhere. It doesn't matter. Anyways, the last time I washed him, it was a bit of a pain in the ass, and he was a little more argumentative.
I remember.
Well, last night, it was such a fucking nightmare.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. I could not get it done fast enough. And I didn't even turn the water off. I just let it run so it would stay at the same temperature because I got a two dial situation, right? And if you monkey with it at all, the temperature changes. I was like, nope. And I never would do that. And I had a container and this, that, whatever. And I'm talking to him the whole time. I wish my son or Anthony had been here because in hindsight, it would have gone more smoothly if somebody could have been petting him and like giving him treats or something.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Anyways, I hope to God I rinsed him well enough. I mean, I rinsed him and rinsed him and rinsed him and rinsed him, and I probably over rinsed, but I just always want to make sure I got all the soap. And he is itching a little bit today, so God help me. I might have to put him in the tub and just give him a quick rinse once Wyatt gets here. I don't know, but he does do that after a bath, though. Anyways, he was just howling and whining, and it made me feel horrible. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I put a little rug. I always do this. I put a regular, like Berber, plain little 2x3 grip, not 2x3. What is that? 18 inches by 24 inches grip, just a plain with the grip on the bottom and the Berber. Put it in the tub so it doesn't move, right? You get to stand right on that sucker. It's not going anywhere. I don't know, but I'm never doing it again. So maybe my sister can wash him. He loves my sister. And I don't know, but I'm not washing him. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, I couldn't wash Piper or Lilu unless Shan helped me.
Done.
You know,
all done.
Beth joined us, and she says, I put Bodhi in the tub every day after we have our walk, just up to his ankles to clean his paws and
that's so
little
cute.
Tutor.
Yeah, he'll let me do that. I did that in this. He'll let me do that, and he'll let me wipe his feet down because I do in the winter to keep the salt off his feet. But it's about, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I'm not really sure what the problem is. I don't know.
And Nancy says, my truffle has skin allergies. She is currently in the cone of shame. Aww. But she says she sleeps better that way. So yeah. I remember, I think it was Lilu. We had to watch what we put on her because of skin. Well, when we got her, she was my project at the animal shelter. But they told me when she came in, she was in such rough shape. They didn't think that she was going to make it because she had mange, she had parvo, she was emaciated. I mean, she was in rough shape. But so I think a lot of that early on, experience, like maybe with scouts, kept her skin, sensitive in certain places. So there were times when we had to put, the cone on until, but not too often. But we had to make sure that we use like special oatmeal that the vet at Second Chance recommended for us. And Shan would have to help with Piper. She was like a shepherd chow, you know, wild parts. She was wild something too. And so her coat was always so thick and plush. but she was we were always having to brush her because of that undercoat. But it took forever to wash Piper, especially when she went after the skunk one
It's
night.
a lot. It takes a lot to wash Scout as little as he is because he's so plush around
Yep.
his neck and
And
into his back.
Piper was a big, not mean she wasn't like a big huge breed, but she was a good size. And trying to get her in the tub, especially in her skunk and everything, a lot of that just stayed in her fur for a long time. And they said just keep bathing her. It's going to take a while, and eventually it did. But my Piper had beautiful, beautiful fur. Gorgeous, gorgeous. We rarely had to wash her. And let's see. Someone was saying shenanigans. Britt. So everybody, this is Britt. In case you didn't know her name, so shenanigans is Britt. My Tristan is scared of baths. First of all, I love the name Tristan. It's been long enough that he doesn't check on me constantly when I take one. Mommy, don't drown. Oh, so it's time for him to get one. And have you seen those? You've seen those videos? I think you might have sent me a few of them, Allison, where the dogs don't want to take a bath and they're in there going, wow, wow, wow. She's like, no, get in the tub. Wow, wow. I mean, these videos online on YouTube is absolutely
You
hysterical.
know, something else too, I should go ahead and mention this, and some of you may know this, but I'm sure at least somebody out there doesn't know this. Um, Dogs don't want to smell like scented, whatever, like your Jolly Rancher smelling shampoo or whatever the heck you buy for your dog.
Yep, not my goals.
So, and that's why a lot of dogs will, immediately run outside and want to roll in dirt or whatever. They want to smell like what they smell like, which I get. But the main thing or a very important thing to do is to get a very mild,
Scented.
unscented, do what you want, but that is what your dog wants. And I don't care what kind of dog you have or who your dog is. They don't want to smell like anything that's scented at all. It's bad enough that their natural scent is gone.
Yeah.
But to me, it's almost people are gonna get upset about this, but I can't help it. It's like it really is gonna stress your animal out, and it does stress your animal out when you put a
I
cologne on
believe it.
them, which is what is being done if the shampoo is scented. And it could upset them in other ways too, because it's so unnatural. I'll show you if anybody cares about seeing what I use on Scout and Lulu. And it's just, you can even make a shampoo if you want. It's not going to be as good, but or as effective. But all you're really doing, honestly, is washing their skin. Yes, the fur too, but the
Mm-hmm.
odor is almost completely on their skin. It really is. And yeah, you're gonna, as long as yeah. So
So yeah, I can see that when we
yes,
did
Moon
Piper on.
Fox. Yes.
Yeah, she shared that it can irritate their sense of smell. Again, because then they can't smell their natural smell, they feel detached from nature or their I can totally see that.
And
I
depending on
would
their
never.
coat, I mean, you could just wash them with baking soda, honestly. And you could grind oatmeal if you want to, like if they
That's
have an
what we
oily
use.
coat. That's all
Mhm.
you got to do. It's it. The whole point is that they're clean. They don't have to smell good. And I know probably everybody out here knows that, but maybe not.
Mhm.
And also, when you after you wash your dog still smells like a wet dog. Your dog still smells like a wet dog until your dog is dry. I don't care
Mhm.
who your dog is or like Lulu, she's so tiny,
She's
like you
so
don't
cute.
really smell her. I mean, if you stick your nose down in her, she needs one too. I'm just real about washing her. I might just go ahead and go in the shower with her, honestly, and just take her in there with me and then wash her all up while I'm holding her and then just put her down and then I'll just take my shower. That might be the best way to do it, honestly, at
Mhm.
this point with her and how
My
she is.
Lulu
So
was a Whippet mix, and I think she might have had some Chihuahua in her as well. And she had, the thing though with Lulu is she would develop that. There would be like a musk to her after a certain period of time if I didn't wash her. Sometimes she would have a little bit of a slightly oily coat, but I hardly washed her at all unless she got really, like, we went out for a walk and there was mud and she got splattered. We're like, oh no, you're not getting into bed or getting on the couch or anything until you're washed with that. But it was rare that we washed them because we felt bad because we felt like we were tormenting them. But at the same time, even Shan said you don't want to, and so did the people over at the shelter that I worked at. They were like telling me you don't want to wash them every day or wash them too often, because then you can irritate, their
You
skin
don't,
and
yeah,
affects
they
their
don't even
sense.
need it. I've noticed this thing on, it's come through my feed a couple times. I'll just mention this. I wouldn't have, but I just thought of it when you were saying that. And people have made shorts of, and they're funny. There's a couple of them that are funny and they're about giving their dog a spa day
Mm-hmm.
and all these different things that they're doing these for these dogs, and it's super cute. And they put the cucumbers on their eyes, and putting moisturizer on their paw pads, and they pick dogs that are super super chill, and they can do all these hilarious things, and they put like the
Mm-hmm.
little terry cloth
Yeah,
headband on them, and and it's really cute.
especially the
But the
Chihuahuas.
reality is there's people that are out there that are washing their dogs all the time, and it's mostly people that don't know anything about dogs, and they think that they have to keep their dogs super clean and all this weird stuff. There's lots of pibbles that they're doing that with, right? And it's just like, and they think that they're doing, and it's like you're gonna screw your dog all up. Your dog is gonna have dander, and
Mm-hmm.
and then your dog's gonna be itching. You're gonna be trying to figure out what's going on. It's just like,
That was Lulu. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't. Yeah. I mean, I could see wiping their feet off and brushing them if they need
Mm-hmm.
brushing. Like my Chihuahua, Lulu, you don't need to brush her. You don't have to do anything. Nothing. Psh, she's autopilot
She's
dog.
low maintenance
You don't
like
need to
that.
do anything. You need to cut her nails. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And she
That's
won't
what
let
we
you
have.
do that. But Scout, yes, he needs to be brushed. And that's about it. He needs to be brushed and have his nails trimmed. That's it.
And
So
people too, they think, oh, I'm going to go ahead and cut my dog, shave my to keep them cool during the summer or whatever. And people don't realize with huskies and stuff and whatnot, they need that coat during the summer to be able to protect. That's at least that's what I learned. A lot, breeds people want to think they're going to keep their dogs cool or make them look cute to have them shaved down and everything. But from what I understand, they can do a lot of damage to their skin and stuff because that fur is what's acting as keeping their skin safe, keeping their skin healthy, and keeping them, well. So
yeah,
be
it's
careful
really
on shaving.
important, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't go into all this, but it to know your breed.
Yes.
And even a mix. And if you're not sure, and I certainly don't think they're experts, ask your vet if you're truly just, or you got somebody in your family or whoever. And I doubt anybody here even needs to hear all this, but it's like if you don't know anything about your dog's coat or how to take care of him properly, it might not be what you're guessing. So it is good to, like, Scout's
Excuse me.
coat. It has, I don't know how they say it's like where the hairs themselves are insulated. So there's like a
Mhm.
chamber of air. It's almost like a tube, the hair. And so it's cooling and it'll be warm. And so, like, you would never shave my dog. I mean, he's got a bunch of fur, and that's another thing a lot of people don't
Mhm.
realize. And that's why you have so much heat stroke. Dogs only sweat through their paw pads, their noses, and panting. So when it's 95 degrees out, you don't walk your dog. You
And
don't
people
walk your
still do.
dog. And you see people walking their dogs across the parking lot and everything else. It's like, slide your feet out of your sandals. Walk
I did
across
that the
that
other
blacktop.
day. It
Your dog is
hurts.
not going to cry out. Their natural instinct is to not show weakness. They're going to have to be in serious pain for them to cry out. And if they do that much, but the reality is a lot of dogs, I've seen many dogs that it's like, it is so hard for me to keep my mouth shut. And years ago, I would have said something, and now I just put a prayer on it. Because it's like you can't say anything to anybody anymore, even if you say it
Mhm.
nicely. But it's like your pets need to go do their walks, you know, before it gets hot or later in the day after it cools off. And other than that, it's
Mm-hmm.
just quick potties. That's it. In the shade, hopefully, and know your dog. And again, everybody here probably already knows all this. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that don't. I know this because
And
I'm
you try to
out
tell them
there in the
that.
world and I see stuff all the time. And I'm like, good Lord Jesus Christ, what is that person doing?
Exactly. Not to
So,
mention
yeah.
people leaving pets in the car, but I'm not even going to go into that.
No, and for
Um,
that, I just call the cops, and I've done that
yeah.
many times. Yeah, I
Um,
will. I'm the one. Yep. Yeah. Leave your dog in the car. Let me see it. I'm calling the police.
yeah.
That I don't have a problem with.
And earlier, Britt was saying, I get some wet wipes that are meant for wiping their butts and use that to clean them up by hand for the most. I had a pet wipe for the dogs, and they did not like it. So I was
I
like,
just use a wet
I'm afraid.
washcloth. They have
Yeah.
a stack of towels and washcloths, and anytime you need to wipe anything off, I just use water.
And as you said, the
But that's
wipes
me.
be scented. Yeah, my girls had their personality. Let me tell you, smell is a survival mechanism for them. They're pack animals, and I'm sure if they smell funny, that could jeopardize them in the pack. That's in their DNA.
Scent is everything.
So,
They are so scent driven. That's why, and I love that she's mentioning that. So, like, Scout is fully deaf and he has one eye. He gets around beautifully. Why? Because of his nose. They always do. Dogs are scent. They're not like us. They don't lay around and cry and moan and boo hoo. Oh, I can't hear anymore. And I only have one eyeball. I mean, they don't do that.
mhm.
They're survivors. And I think that their scent just gets even stronger.
Yeah.
Um,
And if you don't know anything about dogs or pets, if you want to get one, do the
that's
research.
right. Yes. Yep.
And if
Yep.
you do the rescue, because I always really promote rescues, because so many shelters are just overrun with dogs. If you go to do a rescue and you know it's a mixed breed, try to figure out best you can what breeds that they are, or at least the main breed, and then do the research. I have a neighbor who kind of, he has a palm here, and he's like, well, he goes, I really don't like rescue dogs because they're I don't know, I can't remember what it was. He was saying something about, well, you know they're, you just really don't know what you're getting
Who
or something like
cares?
that.
Next.
And oh, there was Scout, and
What a loser jackass. Who cares?
so him and I don't really we'll say hi and stuff, but I stood up for
Yeah.
the animal shelter dogs.
Thanks for playing. Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah. People
exactly.
like that you need to stay away from. I just don't understand. Yeah. Anyways, really quickly, my rescue mix needs to go out potty. Um,
Oh, Scout.
so we'll be
Okay.
right back. Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's standing by the door. I'll be 2 seconds. He just needs to
Okay.
be real quick.
Let's see. General question for everyone: is it worth it to get one of those dog DNA? I'm going to save that for when Alice comes back, because I don't know if she said that she did that or she was going to think about that. We wanted to do that, but our vet, and this was back when we had Piper and Lulu and we could afford to do that if we wanted to. I mean, it was serious bucks, we weren't going to do it. But back then, this was pretty much right around, before we left Arizona. And back then, it was $1,200, we were told. So I don't know how much it would be now. So I am going to save the question about the DNA. Um, yeah, for health risk. Yeah, for health issues and stuff, and breeds. Now with Lilu, she ended up we having to let her go because she was starting to develop some sort of. She always had anxiety, but as she got older, when she was going on to, I think it was between 13 and 15, we could get her to stop chewing at her paws. We would check them, we would clean them, there was nothing there. And the vet said, well, there's something going on. We could put all this, do these tests. But I mean, we were just barely surviving and we couldn't afford the vets. And so we had to choose our, our survive, so we had to say goodbye to her because we didn't want her to keep doing what she was doing to herself. That's always broke my heart. Let's see. Wisdom panel is like 15. Oh, okay. So before you took Scout out, Brett had a question for us and for people in chat. And I don't know if you've done this. I think you said you might be thinking about it. General question: is it worth to get those dog DNA test kits for rescues to find out their breed ancestry? I don't know if you ever felt like,
Oh, just my opinion. I would love to do it. I'm too cheap to do it. Um, but like anything else, actually by now it might be way more affordable. I know it used to be somewhere around $100 to do it. I was like, I ain't spending that on that. But now it's probably, I mean, me personally, I'd pay $50 for something like that. I don't really need to know because I already know. My mixes are so my mixes are so obvious what they are. Now that
mhm,
doesn't mean I'm going to be right. And would I like to do it? Sure, I'd love to do it. I think it's really
me
cool.
too.
Do I think that it's accurate and right? I don't know. I think that it's probably as good or better than what you could guess. And it's fun, right? I mean, like I did my uh um ancestry and all of that. I mean, I just think it's fun. It's cool.
Um,
Um and
in Arizona, I was told it was going to be like a grand to be able to have their DNAs and stuff done. I'm like, never
no, it's
mind.
like $100.
So
But
now
it's
it's, I know
probably
this was
cheaper now.
way back. Yeah, but back then, this was like in 2007.
Moonfox
Mhm.
said it's more around $75, maybe 50. And it's probably
Yeah.
one of those things like at Christmas time, they'll run a special. Like you can do your freaking ancestry now for $39. I mean, they're giving that shit away now.
Yeah,
So
I might do that again.
it's
So,
super cheap. For
and
like Father's Day, like they do it for every damn holiday. Every time they're running a special, I get an email.
yeah.
So yeah. Oh, I've got a funny thing to share.
Okay.
It's really not funny, but it's kind of funny. It'll be funny soon enough. It might be a little premature for me to laugh about it, hopefully. But or anyways. So I am as y'all here know, I'm carnivore. All I eat is meat, right? So when I cook, that's what I'm cooking. So it's summertime. So what happens in the summertime that doesn't happen the rest of the year? There's bugs, right? So I have the air conditioner on all the time when it's hot. Nice days, I don't have it on, but it doesn't even matter in the summertime. Now there's more bugs this summer than usual. I'm in Michigan, and so there's just bugs. It's very much a thing. I don't mind bugs. I like bugs. They don't really come in the house, so I don't really care. But the one exception, if you're cooking meat, is that flies come around and they want to come in your
Mm,
house. You
yeah.
guys, I am not kidding at all. You can set your watch by the flies trying to get in my place when I cook. Like there'll be nothing, nothing's happening. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing going on. And then I'll cook up, a whole bunch of bacon or whatever. And 10 minutes later, there's a fly in my apartment. Now the doors are closed. The windows are closed. My windows are sealed. I
So,
have beautiful windows. My screens, nothing, nothing, nothing. And I could never catch it. And like I would have already taken the dogs out or hadn't been out yet at all.
hmm,
Fly'd go by. Me being me, admittedly,
yeah.
I have to stop everything until I get that fly. And then there'll be the day where there would be two. What the fuck? Right? I'm like, what is
Yeah,
happening?
that's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but the way
So
you say it. Yeah.
I'm obsessing about this because it's
Mm-hmm.
me. And I'm like, and you guys know I have a damn arboretum in here, right? You are not having flies come in when you have the amount of plants that I mean, I'd be this way anyway, but the plants just up it even more, right? So I was like, they're coming in through the air conditioner. That's the only way they
Oh.
can be getting in here. It's the only way. My windows are sealed. I'm a
Mhm.
nut job walking out the door to make sure that there's no flies getting in. And on occasion, one can get in, but I see it come in and I immediately kill it, whatever. So I'm like, I know. And the seal is all around my door, everything. So I went into the office and I'm like, look. So this happened last year as well, but it wasn't that bad. This year, like the last couple of weeks, we finally had, and let me back up just a little bit. If it's a regular hot day, one might come in, and I just kill it, whatever. But on the hot days, and especially if it's really hot and humid, it's unbelievable, right? And again, you can set your watch to this. There'll be nothing going on, nothing happening. I will make center cut bacon is my big thing right now. I'm all hooked on that. So I cook that.
That's good stuff.
I go to sit down to eat it, and there'll be a fly or two. Hell, maybe three. That's happened as well. And then 10, 15 minutes later, I've eaten, I've cleaned the pan, I've put everything away, but my living room, because the way I have a great room set up, smells like bacon, which does kind of suck in a way, but it doesn't really bother me at the same time. Whatever it is, what it is. And so they can smell it, and they're hanging out at the air conditioning unit, right? And they come on in. So I went to the office and told them, and they were awesome. They're awesome about everything. And so later on, John, that's the maintenance guy, he came over and he was looking at it. We discussed it, and I love this guy. I hope they never get rid of him because he's worth his weight in gold. But anyway, so he worked on it yesterday, and he set up and put a really cool screen. He wrapped a screen around it and like screwed it all in and sealed it.
Oh,
and
wow.
everything, and so it still functions the same, but it's basically like gift wrapped in a screen, right? Um, and I knew intuitively. So I was like, all right, thanks, da da da. And I had dinner with Anthony and whatever, didn't cook any dinner. And then I had some what do you call it? It doesn't matter. I had some pre-cooked whatever the hell, I can't remember the name right now. I'd ate that, so I didn't cook. So the next morning I did bacon within 15 minutes. There were many. I was like,
How the hell is
so
it
I
getting
texted
in there?
him and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, I'll be by this afternoon. I can't get over there till this afternoon. I'm like, all right. So he came over and we went over it all again. And he hadn't noticed, and I hadn't noticed either. Down at the bottom on each corner, there's like a fold where the serrated grate thing on the front is adhered to the cage, right, that holds the air conditioning unit. So he sealed that all off, went around the whole thing again, da da da. Anyways, it's ain't nothing getting in. So it is so gross. I went out there and I was cooking, and I went out there. There were like 6 flies sitting on the screen.
Oh,
I'm like, you're so fucking. And I had my spray
Allison's a
bottle
really
with
good cook.
eucalyptus and peppermint oil with water because they hate peppermint oil and eucalyptus oil. They hate it. I'm like, oh, spraying it at them just so they get out of here. I mean, they're not in my place, but I just hate the fact that they're even outside. It's like, just fuck off. Just go away.
Fuck off, fly.
So gross. Flies are so, I hate flies. Like, I don't kill anything. I walk all spiders out. Well, I kill mosquitoes, ants, shovel bugs, ladybugs, whatever. But I don't really get anything inside. But on the occasion that I do, but I'll tell you what, if you're a fly and you're dumb enough, you're dead. You're so dead. I hate mosquitoes too, but knock on wood, we don't really get mosquitoes. And I have a creek right here on my property. Beautiful
Get a
creek.
few, but not
It
that
dries
many.
and it runs. It dries and it runs. And near water is where you get mosquitoes. And we don't really get mosquitoes. It's so weird, but the flies are just there's more this year than there were last year. I don't know why. I mean, I'll go outside, I don't really see them, but the scent is in the air. And they're like, oh, we're gonna go over to Allison's. and they just
Mm.
come flying right over, and it's just disgusting.
Shelby says, I can
So
see
gross.
Allison running around with 2 fly swatters and bacon
No,
sizzling with one spear.
I have a really cool electric fly swatter. And then I have another one. I have two. I have one that I bought a few years ago from Lowe's. That thing is the bomb. It works so good. And then Anthony got me one because it's got a I don't know why. I mean, I think it's great that he did it. But it's like I didn't need it. The one that I have works fabulous. But then he got me one, and it is cool 'cause it's got a stand, and you stand it in, and it's the one I bought takes 2 AA batteries, but it lasts freaking forever. And then the one that he got me is you charge it, you plug it in.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like mine better. I do use the one that he got me, but that one's cool because you put it in the stand and you can just turn it on and just leave it on, which I rarely do, but you can do it because I got gnats gnats
Those little
in
black
some of
flies.
my plants last year. And thankfully it wasn't bad. It was all taken care of and it went away. But it was cool because you'd just be sitting there and you'd hear pop.
Yeah.
Like, well, killed a gnat. You get up in the morning, there'd be like 4 of them like laying right by the thing. And
Carolina says she has an electric fly swatter too. She goes, I use it to kill bugs.
yeah, it's cool. It's neat. And don't get me wrong, I kill bugs. If you're flying around in my place, sorry, you're out, you know. But if I can pick you up and take you outside, I do. Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah. Creepy cat.
But I don't, the flies and mosquitoes, you're out. Like a moth, I would never kill a moth. There's no way. No. They're
We get
beautiful.
something here that I've never seen before. At least I didn't remember seeing it growing up on the East Coast. They have something that Jan says are called earwigs, and they're these like long little bodies, and they have they're not long like a centipede, but they're about
We got them
long,
everywhere.
and sometimes I found them in his water or running on the floor. He'll just sit and look at them, so I'll know that they're there. And I'll go, ugh, and I'll go pick it up, open the door, out you go. So, but yeah, you don't help me. At least you let me know where they are.
It's weird that you mentioned those, Heather, because they are, when I walk in the morning in the last few days in this one area that I go, I've been seeing those all over on the sidewalks, and I don't know why that is. Like I've stepped over probably a dozen of them just in the last few days. So I don't know if I just happened to see them or if there are more or what, but
yeah, they're creepy crawly. They give me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, they're kind of like centipedes and stuff. They go, oh no, out you go.
See, I'm not squeamy, and I know a lot of people are. You know, it's so funny.
Either.
The only thing I'm squeamy about, and I'm serious, the only thing I'm squeamy about is snakes. That's it. Bugs, nope. Worms, mice, rats. It doesn't bother me. Frog. I just moved a little toad.
Oh,
I don't know. He's cute too. I don't know. Monday maybe. And I didn't touch him only because I know sometimes you shouldn't, and there's different things that can happen, blah, blah, blah. So I grabbed my little dustpan and I pushed him onto the dustpan and I took him down to the creek.
Yeah.
Put him in the grass.
See, I don't mind ladybugs. To me, they're like good luck. So I love them. They're sweet.
I really like beetles in general.
I've had a couple land on me and I go, Shan, do I need to worry about a single bite? He goes, no, that's fine. And they have like I thought it was a ladybug, but
bugs are not going to bite you.
They got a red, I don't know. There was a time when I tried, saving, there was a ladybug or something that was and I remember going, ow, you little fucker, I'm trying to save you. Don't bite, so it feels something, at me. So I don't know.
Almost
Maybe they just didn't
anything,
like me.
almost anything, you can put a glass over it and you can slide a piece of paper under it and take it outside. I don't care what it is.
Toad skin can release a whiff and make you itch. So
thank you. And I couldn't remember what it was because I almost went to pick it up because little me would have. And I was like, oh, and I stopped. I'm like, no, I don't know what kind of toad that is. And I remember there was something. And I'm like, no. And I know what they feel like. You know how you have that memory? I like I knew what it was gonna feel like. It was gonna be cool and it was gonna be kind of mushy. I've held a toad in my hand before. Um, but I didn't know what
And they
kind it
pee on
was.
you too.
And they can do all kind. Yeah, I was just like, anyway, whatever. I didn't even miss a beat. I'm like, oh wait, and I just went and got the dustpan because
And
it lives right outside of
Carolina,
my front door.
my mom loved her toads so much because
Toads
my
are
mom
so
had these
they're so cute.
with her gardens and stuff. There was actually a snake that got a hold of one of her toads, and it wasn't dead yet. And my mom told me I wasn't home to see this, and she doesn't like snakes either. She grabbed it and she goes, "You're going to let that toad go. You're not going to eat it." And it wouldn't. And she grabbed a hatch. I'm like, apparently. And she goes, "I told you, let go of my
That's
toad."
nature. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
So, but yeah, but Caroline
yeah.
says I
You
go
got to let nature
barefoot.
do what it's gonna do. I mean, I don't like it either. Like we see things happening. It's like I finally have just gotten to where.
Mhm. I'm like, no, I saw a lizard really quick today. Thank
What
God
are you
it
gonna do?
was. But and Caroline says, so wait a minute. I sometimes get rattlesnakes on my property. I was going to, oh,
Yeah,
know
I
who
hear
also
you.
used
That I
to
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Georgia
we're in
too.
their
Let's let you know.
territory, but I think it was on Heather's channel. I was talking about it. I had a water moccasin in my living room when I lived in Florida.
No, thank you.
Came in through the doggy door, and it was I come walking in the living room. Like, did I not tell this?
You probably did. We've done so many
I'll
shows
do the
though.
short version. So I came walking into my living room. This is when I was married, and I believe this was before Wyatt was born. Yeah. And I was that doesn't make sense though. Maybe it was on the weekend. No, it wasn't on the weekend. Maybe Wyatt was napping. Sorry, you guys don't care about that. I'm just trying to figure that out. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense because I know where we were living and what was going on. And anyways, whatever. I was living in Florida, Land O'Lakes. We had a beautiful house, and it was during the daytime. It was in the morning. My husband was at work, and I came walking into the living room, either from the kitchen or the bedroom. I don't know, it doesn't matter. And I come walking through, and you talk about OCD. My house was spotless at that time. And come walking in, and there was something on the floor near the doggy door because we had a sliding door, and then we had an insert for the doggy door because I had Boston Terriers at the time. And um or a Boston Terrier. This is before we got Ruby. And there's something on the floor. And I didn't have my glasses on or my contacts in because I wore contacts at that time. Come walking in, and I go, just walking up to it. I'm like, what the hell's on the floor? Go walking over. I got about 10 feet away from it. And I'm like, holy shit.
Shit. Yeah.
And it was I didn't know it at the time. I just knew it was a snake. And it was in a circle laying on the floor, and it lifted its head up a little bit when I walked toward it, which is super fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I got out of that room so fast. I was like, oh my God. And I ran into the kitchen. I got up on the counter like a freak because I was freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see up high because the way our house was set up, you could see from the dining room, and it had an open window from the kitchen. There was a bar, and you could see across. I'm like, oh my God. And I grabbed the phone because this is when you had a phone, called John at work, and I'm like, freaking out and telling him what's going on. And the doorbell rang. I might be screwing up the order of this. This was a long freaking time ago. But anyways, the friggin' pest guy is at the door. You can't make this shit up. My pest guy that came whenever he came, I don't remember. When you live in Florida, you have pest as one of your regular bills. You have pest control always when you live in Florida. And anyways, he was there to knock on the door for whatever the hell. So interesting because they don't normally knock on the door anyway. Anyway, I about attacked this guy at the door. No kidding. And I'm like, really quickly, again, this was 20 years ago. I don't remember all the details, but I really quickly gave him the rundown on what was going on. And he came and he got that snake and he put it in a bucket and he took it outside. And now I would be upset about it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And I get it. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Whatever. He killed it. And yeah, anyways, so my husband didn't have to come home and blah blah blah, but I was totally freaked out. So for about, I don't even know how long, my doggy door had this little plastic door that you could use to close off your doggy door, where before that the doggy door was just always open. It was just a flap, right? It was
Yeah,
only like
Florida.
yay big. It was big enough for a Boston Terrier to bust through, you know, at full speed, right? And he did. It was so cute. It's like a little rubber flap. It's kind of clear. It's got magnets at the bottom, so it always stays closed against the metal at the bottom. It's actually really cool. Anyways, I kept that closed for a while because I was so freaked out. And the reality is, and I didn't think about this till later, and John and I were talking about it, and I don't know, but the snake might have come in because the pest guy was out there.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like wherever it was in my yard or whatever. I don't know, but I think he did the front yard first. Anyways, that was never even. And it's
I'm
not like I had a
surprised he just
discussion.
didn't call like local wildlife and have them take it out and just, not dispose it as in kill it, but just return it somewhere far from the neighborhood, But
This is Florida.
yeah. Well, I don't
20
know
years
how.
ago.
Yeah,
No.
so
No, that, and where I was living, no, they ain't gonna do that. They're gonna kill that snake.
yeah.
And plus,
Much
and so in
better.
that area, we had a little pond right near my place, and there were two further up, and there were, God, it's been so long. What is it? Are they alligators or crocodiles? I think they're alligators.
I don't know if any of
And
that.
that they were all over the place, and they would get pretty big. And but we had a privacy fence, and I mean, I saw a couple snakes in my yard because there was a pond behind us, not too far. And I mean, there's some, like in Florida, you got to respect what's out there. You're a
Mm-hmm.
dumbass if you go out on a walk and you're
Yeah.
not paying attention
10.
to what's out there and what's on the trail and where there's water, because it's Florida and there's some wild stuff out there. It's not like in Michigan, nothing's gonna mess you up here. There's nothing. I mean, you can. I mean, I've moved away, but like I've walked these fields and woods and everything my whole life, and there's nothing that's gonna happen. I mean, if it's really really hot and the sun is out and it's early in the day, you could see a snake on the trail. It's possible. But like
Yeah.
if you're looking for one, you're probably going to be disappointed because you just don't really
Yeah.
see anything here. There's just not really anything here. We don't
And
have
Tom.
bears. We
Yeah.
don't have
Oh,
mountain
gotcha.
lions. We
Mm,
don't have
we
we
do.
don't have we don't have any of that cool stuff.
We do. They were told before that most of the deer stay, a lot in town because occasionally the bears and the mountain lions, well, or was it the mountain lion? Yeah, I think they said mountain lion would come off the mountain. We're looking at an apartment complex at this time, and she goes, it doesn't happen often, but every now and then we've gotten, some
Oh, in
sightings of
Oregon?
those. Yeah,
Yeah, you got mountain lions there.
yeah, but we haven't, because we're not up out that far. We're, in town. But one place we were initially looking at, we're closer to the outskirts with a beautiful view of the mountains. And she said, she goes, yeah, they occasionally come down and we have to call and they're trapped and, they're taken back. So, but yeah, I mean, it would be amazing to me to see a mountain lion, something wild like that. But at the same time, I'm like, no, because if I see one, then this could possibly eat me, and I don't want to be eaten by a mountain lion. So,
Thank
or a
goodness.
bear.
When
um,
and now I'm gonna, oh my God. Shit.
Heather has to watch out for Sasquatch. Yes, well, people in
What
the
is that
South too.
called?
You got grass man, you got the lizard man out in that area in the South, in Florida and Louisiana and stuff. You got lizard man, you got grass man, You've got, skunk ape that are smelled in the bayous and in the wetlands and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, there is Sasquatch, and we see a lot of people with their stickers. He's very popular here, so
Yeah, when Anthony and I were in Ohio, where we just were in Hocking Hills, they're all about Sasquatch there. Um, really quickly, when I lived in Florida, and I really, really cannot believe I cannot remember the name right now. I'm having a total brain fart. Twice I crossed paths with the wildcats that we have there, and I cannot forget who's here that knows what I'm talking about. This is in Northern California, early in the morning, right at daybreak. It's not a mountain lion. What is the wildcats that we get?
is lynx one of them? I know I've heard of lynx.
I was going to say, but there,
Or
what's the
puma?
other name for that?
No,
Because nobody
no.
calls it a lynx there, but I want to say that might be it, but it goes by another
Bobcat?
name. It might be a bobcat. In fact, I think it is. I think it's bobcat. It's bobcat. Yep, it's bobcat. So I used to run in the mornings. Thank you,
Yep.
Tom. Yep, I used to run in the mornings. Uh, out at it's called Phoenix Lake, and it was actually called Natalie Coffin Green Park, but the lake that's there is called Phoenix Lake. Everybody called it Phoenix Lake, whatever. And I would go out there and I would park, and you couldn't get there before daybreak, but sometimes I'd be there a little early, and just to get a good parking spot. And I would park and I would walk up there's a fire road, and there were trails you could do, but I was like, no, I'll stay on the fire road until it's daybreak. And then you'd go, well, sometimes not sometimes, one day in particular, because that fire road goes really far. And I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna stay on the fire road. So I stayed on the fire because I did like to mix it up. I kid you not, you guys. One day I was out there, it was just after daybreak, and there was a fucking bobcat.
Cool.
And I had already gone as far as I was gonna go, and then I was coming back down. I was gonna hop on this trail, and sure as shit, and it was I got goosebumps right now remembering it. It was so beautiful. And I was a tiny bit scared, but I swear to God, not really. I was so in awe of what I was looking at and was wanting to get closer, but I had just enough, I'm going to say fear. It's like, no, just don't. I really wanted to. And it was so beautiful. It did not see me, and the wind was not traveling. He didn't even know I was there. And he or she walked across the fire road in front of me and just kind of lackadaisically, and was probably going night night, right? And it was just kind of waddled across the fire road, and it went down the embankment, and then I walked over and I'm looking, I could see it for a little ways, and then it was gone. It was so beautiful, and it was probably only, I'm gonna say, and thank God I had my glasses on, or I had my contacts on, one or the other, because I could see it really clearly. And it was probably only, I'm going to say 20 feet away from me. I mean, it's amazing that it didn't see me, but I was walking, I wasn't running, because I had gone up the hill, and then I was coming down because this is California. And so the fire road was going up, and I was coming down it. And so you got to go kind of slow, and it's not real smooth, right? It's fire road. So it's kind of, and I would have been running on the trail. So thankfully I was walking, and it is kind of crunchy. Again, the way the wind was going, I don't know, maybe I was supposed to have this encounter. It was very, I'm gonna be corny and say it was very magical, because it was so cool. And you talk about gorgeous, and they have that big fat tail, and she had his tail down, and it goes like this, and it has like a black tip at the end of it. It was so pretty. And it was probably about the size of, mm, what's something that's that size?
Shelby says
Like
that's
a
a
medium
Chitchatting
sized
dog.
dog, like a medium sized dog. I'm trying to think of a breed that's about that size. Um, just oh, so beautiful. And they have like little wisps that come right out of the
The
tops of their
pups, yeah.
ears. Oh my God. Or if it knew I was there, it didn't care. I don't
Yeah.
know. Didn't even look my
Knew you weren't a
direction.
threat to him.
Didn't
Yeah.
even look. It was like, yeah, I'm headed to bed. And just kind of, and it was even the way it was walking, it was so cute. It was just
Good kitty.
that slink,
Yeah.
and it's a cat. It's so, that whole sexy walk that they do, but it definitely looked tired, and
And
it was beautiful. And then I saw one another time, and that wasn't nearly as impressive. It was more at a distance, and it was down again on the fire road, but not there, but it was farther down. And I saw it, and it saw me too, but it didn't care, and it was pretty far away, and it looked right at me and just looked away and kept on going. So yeah.
And Tom says any big cat can be easily brought into submission by some chin and tummy rubs. Good luck with
Aw.
that, Tom.
Oh my
But
God, it was so
But yeah,
beautiful.
Sloan, living in California, she would do videos. She'd go in first thing in the morning, like 2 or 3, and she would find a place where she would get on those early trails and hike up there. And she said, I would see bear, and she would have to kind of back down a little bit, give it its space. And she saw mountain lions. So yeah, even she was like,
She
it's such
saw a
a
mountain
beautiful
lion.
and yeah, it was a wild
Yeah, see,
animal. And that
I wouldn't want to come across a mountain lion or a bear. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so she always,
Mm-mm.
went back and gave it its space, and then even during the
Yeah.
day when some people, she will, kind of let people know, something like, yeah, there's a bear up there. But like Shelby said, what would you do in a situation like that? Because there's going to be other people who are going to come by and not know, and I wouldn't want something to happen. Well, someone does something stupid like, oh, how cute, let's go pet, and they end up eating you. It's
I don't
just
know what she's referring to though, or when she said that.
just a little while ago. Well, seeing the animal approaching it, she goes, "You knew what to do, but there's going to be, when there's other
The other
people
thing,
around." Yeah.
yeah, I remember my son did a wildlife. We sent him to so many day camps when he was like in first, second, and third grade. But they taught them what to do. Not that they're going to remember, but they taught them what to do with all these different wild animals. And they're all different, and I wouldn't remember that, and I
Yeah.
should remember that. But like with a bear, you do this, or a brown bear, and you do this,
Mhm.
and with a bobcat, you do this, and a mountain lion, you do that. Da 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 da. And they're all different. They're all different.
Yeah.
So
Same thing
yeah.
when Shan was younger. He was hiking because he loved hiking in the mountains. He was an outdoorsman, and he was just on the trail. And he says up ahead of him, he thought he saw what was a dog on the trail. When someone's dog was, out, and then he realized, he stopped in his tracks. This was no dog. It was a wolf. And he said that wolf turned around, looked at him, locked eyes for a bit, and he just stood still. And then, the wolf just kind of, and continued off. And he was like, wow, that was a wolf. So it was around that time he said he really started feeling a connection to the wolves. And we've got wolf stuff here. Less stuff that we had to, give up over the years when we moved. But yeah,
We
definitely
saw one
people.
we saw, well, honestly, I don't know what we saw. I don't know. I've seen coyotes many times in California, lots of times.
Hmm.
And then when I was married, we went to we were in Tahoe, but I don't remember what part for this, but we rented a house with the couple that my ex-husband's best friend, and it was his business partner at the
Good
time.
night, Britt.
And
Thank
we
you for
rented a
joining us.
house, and it was on a piece of land, and it was kind of secluded. And we saw some sort of wild canine pretty close to the house, it really, really, really looked like it was not a dog. It really looked like a wolf. It did, or it did not look like a coyote
Because
to
they're
me.
smaller. Yeah.
I saw it, and I don't remember who else saw it. Somebody else saw it. I don't remember who it was. Again, it was too long ago. I can't remember. It might have been my husband. I don't remember. Somebody else saw it. I just remember me seeing it, looking at it, and being like, that's a wolf. That's a wolf. I mean, it was gray and it was white and it was a
Yep.
big dog and it wasn't a dog.
Gray wolf. Yep.
And I was like, that's a wolf. you know? But I don't know how common, if at all, there. And I don't remember all the details, but it did not look like a coyote. And I've seen many coyotes. And coyotes they're just smaller. They're not as pretty. They're still pretty though. The coyotes are very pretty to me.
Mexican wolves are small, kind of like a coyote. The majority of wolves are big.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, I loved when I was living in Massachusetts before moving out to Arizona. There was a wolf refuge. They actually had a pack that they took care of and protected, and they did education on the weekends. And on certain weekends, I would, if I didn't have to deliver, mail or something on a Saturday, or after I did, and there was still enough light time, I would drive out and I would just sit there and listen to the same spiel. It didn't matter. I got to be there and watching the wolves and everything, and we get to howl with them. And she would start getting them to howl, and the whole pack would start to howl. So I got to howl with wolves, and I even got to see a wolf puppy, in person. Started peeing all over, and people were kind of backing away, going, "Oh my goodness!" I'm like, "Oh, if I get hit, I get hit. It's a wolf puppy. What are you going to do? I mean, this is a moment to treasure." And when Shannon and I were leaving New Hampshire before moving to New York, we were at a store, and these folks, actually, they were trained, and they had a wolf that they were taking care of, because people try to take wolves or do wolf hybrids, and then they can't handle them because they're wild, and so they get dumped and stuff. So we got to, and I think he was a hybrid, but he was mostly wolf. And his name was Nova. He was absolutely beautiful. Yes, Shelby, Wolf Hollow. Is it still open? I really hope it's still open. They allow you to adopt wolves. They send you a certificate. I adopted Luna for a year. Um, she was the alpha female until she had passed. But yeah, it was amazing. They loved cheese. They would always bring, because there was like a double. I mean, there was just there was a double fence to make sure that the wolves couldn't come in, and and so there was plenty of protection. But the people that they were used to that took care of them, she goes, "Hey, you want to know what brings a wolf to a fence?" And she pull out cheese, and they all come running. "Oh, we want cheese! We want cheese!" So, but yeah, I think one of the most spectacular spiritual experiences I have ever had, and I'm so happy I can say I've had it, was to howl with a pack of wolves, join into one of their howls. So there's nothing magical. I still get goosebumps thinking about it, but there's nothing magical than
Yeah, I'm sure.
howling with a wolf. I mean, wow.
There was, you just reminded me, there was a,
Wonderful. Yes.
long story made short, there was a business in the neighborhood where we lived the majority of the time that we lived in California, my ex-husband and I, the second house that we owned there. And it was called Muffin Mania. And we used to go there a lot. Wyatt and I'd push him down there in the stroller or pull him in the wagon or whatever as he got older, because we went there for years. But anyways, there was a guy there a few days in a row at some point, and he had this huge dog, right? Beautiful, gorgeous, right? And ended up talking to him, of course, and it was a wolf dog. And I don't remember what it was mixed with, but it looked like a wolf, really.
Oh, yeah.
And he told me all of that. I just don't remember. It was too long ago. And then I saw him like whenever, a couple weeks later, and he was actually part of a construction team that was doing a remodel on a house in the neighborhood. And stopped and talked to him for a while. And I remember putting Wyatt up on the tailgate of this guy's truck. This is a broad daylight, and this is where I was in California. It was perfectly fine, safe, whatever. And sitting there with Wyatt, and his dog was laying there in the back of the just lounging, laying in the back. And it was, I'm not gonna say he was friendly, but he was not aggressive at all. He was just, did not give a crap that Wyatt was there or that he was petting him. He was very aloof, did not care at all, and wasn't interested in me one bit. And I did see him like get kind of like in a bit of a, I don't even know,
Retreat. Yeah.
a bit of a definite dominating stance at another dog one day when we were I don't remember if this was before or after the encounter that I had with him. Anyways, and I remember he gave me a conch uh shell that he had in his front, and Wyatt liked it. Wyatt was looking at it, and he says, "Oh, here, you can have it," and he just gave it to him. And but anyways, yeah, it was really cool. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dog, but it really wasn't a dog.
Probably was wolf. Yep.
And he'd had him for years. I want to say he was like 5 or 6. I just remember that. I remember it was not a puppy, absolutely full grown, but it wasn't old either. And he'd had the dog like since the dog was a puppy. So, and he took the dog with him everywhere, and it was definitely his dog. The way that it acted and everything, but it was just didn't. It wasn't really acting like a dog, but it was. And he was big. He was very big.
I met one too. Yeah.
He
At the
was really,
dog
really
park in
big. He
Flagstaff.
kind of looked like and he probably was, again, I can't remember. He was probably like husky wolf, I would guess, because he looked like a wolf, but yet he didn't. So, anyways, but there was no like, oh, that's mixed with, I mean, I don't even know if what they can breed them with successfully anyhow. I mean, it's not like
There's a
you
lot
can
of stupid people who
it's
do
not like
that.
you could put a wolf with a beagle
No.
and they're going to have puppies. So there's got to be some, you know what I'm saying? They can't just mix with all dogs, I wouldn't
Husky,
think.
Malamute, those type of breeds.
Yeah,
And
do you know that for sure?
I think that's one of the ones I learned at Wolf Hollow. But a lot of people think that, oh, it's cool to do that, and they'll buy people who breed
I
them and do
understand
that.
that. Well, I'm talking
But
about what they are able to mix with. I'm very curious. I'm
yeah,
going to look
from
that up. I'm very
I'm
curious
pretty
because I was
sure
just realizing
Malamute,
it's like, what
Husky.
dogs can they even do that with?
And when we were in Flagstaff, and we would take Piper and Lilu to the dog park, it was called Bark Park. There was a woman there the one day. I think we only saw her once. She was traveling through, and she had several rescues with her, and one of them was so big. I'm looking at her going, "Is that a wolf hybrid?" And she said, "Yep." And I think she adopted it because someone tried doing the hybrid thing as well. But he was a sweet soul. His name was Gandalf, and he was gray. So yeah, he had a great. I mean, just beautiful. A little aloof, kind of like, but he was friendly enough where we were able to pet him. And I'm just like, wow. And she's like, yeah, she go. And I don't. Then I would tell her about Wolf Hollow and stuff. But yeah. So I got to meet a couple, at least a hybrid and one, at least I think pure wolf. So yeah,
So
just
Moonfox Knight said
yes,
breeds like German Shepherds, Huskies, and Alaskan Malamutes are frequently used due to their wolf-like appearance and temperament.
temperament.
True, but what I'm asking is what can be done? That's what I'm
And
going to look up and see what I could find out. And it's just because I'm curious.
so Beth Googled it, and she said Siberian Huskies Alaskan Malamutes, German Shepherds, Akitas, and Samoyeds.
Yeah, I'll look it up and see what I could find as
I
for. I
think
just
that's
want to
what she
know
found.
the science of it. I'm curious.
So, but yeah, Gandalf was so sweet though, and he was so beautiful. So that was pretty cool that we got
See,
to.
and all of those are very husky looking.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes me wonder, number one, is there a common thing in their
Their
DNA?
genetics, yeah.
Does a wolf, can a wolf only, will it only work, procreate
Okay.
to, and very well may? That's what I'm curious about.
Beth said she did Google it and she had asked which dogs can mate with
Okay,
wolves, and that's the list. There may be more, but
very
that was the
interesting.
initial. I didn't know about Akitas though, and the Samoyeds. So
Cheetahs are
interesting.
so beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah, we have someone that
I wouldn't
people
mind
that
having
walk
a
their dogs
cheetah.
to the park here every day. I've seen
They're
some really
gorgeous.
sweet, small, beautiful, just fluffy and just absolutely gorgeous, you know. Um, and a couple of people have chihuahuas, and I think
I
they're
like all of
Lulu.
those. Malamute. Yeah, I like all dogs, but
Malamutes are huge. I used to get hugs from a big Malamute. I can't remember what his name was, but when my mom and I were did fostering through Second Chance in Williamsville back in the late '90s. Nancy owned a Malamute, and oh my God, he jumped on you. You had to be ready. You know, she's like, no, don't. You know, and because I mean, he was so big, he knocked you over, but he was a big baby. Talk about belly rubs, Tom. Oh my God, he loved to have his belly rub, but he was huge, so I can see. You know, them being able to mate, you know, closest to, you know, their genetic makeup, definitely that with the oh, you had a Shiba Inu. Oh my God, they're so adorable, but high
they're a
maintenance.
handful.
Yes, they love to bark. They are high maintenance, very high energy. So
They're
I know
smart
for
as a whip,
yes,
and you have to know what the hell you're doing, or it's going to be a whole
Shan
fiasco. People that want
loves
to lay
Shibas.
around and not do anything with their dogs should not get one of those.
Yep,
Yeah.
Shan wanted one, and when we got together, he was like, "Yeah, maybe we can get a Shibu at some point." And then I got Piper. You know, I rescued Piper and I rescued Leland. He's like, "Well, that's out of the picture." But we did have a Shiba Inu come into our second chance rescue, a purebred Shiba Inu, and boy, I can't remember what they named him, but he was that energy that that dog had and the barking. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So when we had to do pet adoptions. We had to make sure that people knew this is what you're getting into with this breed, and had to really make sure that you know the applicants were gone through thoroughly to make sure that they had experience with the dog, they had researched the dog, so that
You
you
need to do
know
that with every single dog, and that needs
we
to
were
be
good.
imposed on every single
Oh yeah,
adoption.
but especially with the you know with the purebreds because it was rare and people would just come flocking in. Especially back then, you know, with the pits, we had to be really careful when we had, you know, especially the pit breeds come in. And we had one that was a 3 leg one. We had to Dr. Fink
Mm.
had to amputate the one leg when the puppy came in, but no problem. Got around. We called it Tipsy, and he just sweet little puppy, and you know I got to sit on the adoption. The owners that they picked were responsible breeders. They brought both their dogs, their male and their female, to meet. They made sure that you know they were fine with Tipsy, and yeah, and the adoption went through that day. So yeah, but people come in, you got any pits, and they're like, oh boy, and so and speaking of when we were talking about washing dogs and everything, when we were in New York, we would go to the North Tonawanda Walmart, and there was a lady that would be there with her service dog. Her name was Valentine, beautiful little pitty, and Valentine would have her nails done pink. So she would have her pretty little pink collar on with her little jacket and her little pink nails. It was so adorable. And so just before we left, I said, "We're moving." I go, "Can I say goodbye to Valentine one more time?" And she goes, "You go right ahead." She goes, she's got all sorts of friends here. So, but yeah, um, I love pitties. But yeah, everybody should know. And the puppy mills. So, I mean, I know not all of you know this, but please do not buy pets from a pet store unless it's like a rescue. I know PetSmart no longer sells puppies
That all
from
needs
puppy
to be
mills.
banned. All of it.
All of it does.
It needs to be banned.
And even people who do it privately, they need to be.
Yep, it
A
all
lot of
needs to be
times,
banned. None of it should exist, and I don't care what anybody
people
says.
still get away
And
with it.
purebreds, it doesn't that it does even that. And I love purebred breeds too, but it's like we just need to adopt from.
Adopt, not shop. Yes. And good night, Beth. Thank you for joining us, sweetheart. It was nice. I know some people are heading out. They are smarter than most people. Yeah, animals. This is why they say animals are stupid. No, we were watching a video today. Some of these dogs, they were smart as a whip. So when people say dogs are stupid or animals are stupid, no, they're not.
I'm
No,
sorry, and I
they
mean
are
this
not.
nicely, but anybody that says that is a freaking
Oh,
moron and has no
yep.
effing clue what they're
Hi,
talking.
Julie. Thanks for popping in. Julie,
Waste
we've
of
been talking about
oxygen,
all
I swear
sorts
to
of
God.
things, dogs, and Allison dealing with a water moccasin, talking about, I mean, it's just been a great show tonight. Thank you, everybody. We had like 7 people, 8 people here, so that was nice. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to want any animal, do the research. That's why before I adopted Lilu, because Piper was an alpha female, even trying to put that on us, we had to make sure that Lilu, she was okay with Lilu. She didn't want to have, really care too much about, Lilu when we introduced them. So it was fine. But you really have to be, pay attention to the breeds because Piper, even though, she was okay, if once we put her food down, if we went near the bowl, there would become the wild side. Because we figured she being coming off the reservation and needing to be someone trying to find a home for her, we feel that she might have had some coyote or something in her because she was very aggressive when it came to food. Once you put your food down or you gave it to her, you did not dare take it back from her
You
or try
know
to,
what?
or
I
get too
just want to.
close to her face. The
Yeah.
muzzle would go up. So yeah.
Um. We had two Boston Terriers for their whole life, and the female. This blew my mind that this
Hi, Shelby.
happened, but it did. So we got both of our dogs from reputable sources, right? And my male was amazing. And then we got our female like 2 years later, and we got her in um Potter Valley in California, and we drove all the way up there and got her. Anyways, much to my surprise, and this woman was lovely. She was a vet,
Mm-hmm.
and she raised on a separate website too. She raised some sort of horse. I can't remember what they were. And then she also raised and sold some sort of bird, which at the time I couldn't have been less interested in. Now I'd be more interested in it, but you change over time, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then they had the Bostons, and their Bostons were all that they had in the house. They had their dogs, and then they had like 6 dogs that were their dogs, just Bostons. And
Wow.
huge piece of property. So 6 dogs sounds like a lot, but house was massive. They had all this property, and they had horses, and they had this huge enclosure for the birds, and
Gotta
everything was
have
really
money.
well taken care of. But the
Yep.
one thing that really got me, and I thought was just crazy, but I wasn't going to tell her anything and whatever. In hindsight, I maybe could have said something tactfully, but I didn't. Now I would. But anyways, when she fed these dogs and the puppies, she would put down a huge bowl of food and they would all eat it, which is fucking crazy. You know how insane that is? Okay, are you with me, Heather?
I'm thinking back to when
Why
I
would
fed
that be
from one
bad?
one. Well, for me, if it was from one bowl, I can see that
That's
because
what
if
I'm
you're going to
talking
have food,
about.
because
One
you're going to
giant
develop
bowl.
food
All the
aggression.
dogs come running up.
Yeah, food
Well,
aggression.
not that's not true. All the
Pardon me.
puppies. So there were 2 litters at the time. Okay, that's a scarcity mentality that there's not enough.
Yep, I would have broken
There's
up all the
not enough.
bowls. Hmm.
What's that going to teach your dog?
Food aggression.
Yeah, yeah.
When and at the
So
shelter, we broke up bowls for everybody. Yeah.
Ruby, thankfully, the Boston's aren't, so dogs are dogs. Okay.
Hmm.
And I won't even get started with that. Dogs are dogs. And you can make any dog mean. You can make any dog kind. A puppy comes in innocent. It's what you do to them that screws them up. Period. I don't care what the breed is. I know this. But, anyways, Boston's, and then they also have their own temperament, right? But I'm just saying, dogs don't
Hmm.
come in mean or aggressive or bad. They're
No,
dogs,
humans do that
right?
to
And you
them.
can do whatever, right? But
Hmm.
anyway, thankfully, our dog that we got from her was not aggressive, but I guarantee, I know for a fact, at least one of them
It's going to develop
came
it.
out of there where you could trigger that, right? Because they weren't being aggressive, but it's the mindset and what you're
Hmm.
instilling. So she was always the problem that I got from my dog is that she was a fast eater, right? So then you end up with a dog that's always got gas
Yeah.
and all these problems because they think that they have to inhale their food because somebody else is going to eat it or some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I'd had her, she finally stopped that after much working with her and going at it different ways and even sitting down and feeding her food one at a time so she would slow down and eat it, not have a tummy ache and have the worst gas you've ever smelled in your life and all
Yeah.
this other stuff because she's inhaling her food. My other dog wasn't going to take it. He used to sit there and look at her like, what's her problem? Because he'd just stand there and he just dog his food like a normal dog. And so I had to untrain
Hmm.
that in her. And she finally, but it took a while.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking to myself, you lazy ass. Because that's the only reason she was feeding
Hmm.
them like that. So she
Yep.
didn't have to take the time and wash the bowls and whatever
Oh
else,
yeah.
which is your
Not the bowl washing.
responsibility as a breeder. If you can't, and don't get me wrong, and I know I'm me and whatever, and I don't care. But it's like if you can't do right by the dogs, then don't do it.
Hmm.
And she was doing a really good job in other ways, but the feeding, that's a huge one to screw up.
Hmm. Even on TV, you see at the when they show feeding pets when you got lots of puppies, they all are supposed to get their own
Yes,
bowls.
and use a brain,
Hmm.
of course.
I
Who the
mean, I
F is going
remember
to put
spending.
down a trough?
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. I remember we were
Hmm.
there the first time and we saw it, and John and I just looked at each other, and I'm like, "Do you see?" I remember this. I'm like, "Do you see this?" I couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "Wow!" And she's a vet,
You think she would know better?
but it comes back to like I was saying, like with dogs or with pets and with people, doctors don't know about nutrition. And she, not that that's necessarily nutrition, but it's
Hmm.
behavior around food. And she clearly didn't know what she was doing, or I think she was just being lazy.
So when you
Um,
do your new channel with your food, are you going to share some insight about pet feeding as well with nutrition, with meat and stuff? No,
I
just leaving
doubt it.
it.
I doubt it. But
Okay,
dogs
just
are
curious.
carnivores. You can feed your
Hmm.
dogs
Yeah, I'm seeing everything on TV with them feeding them. Here, it's got loads of peas and potatoes and carrots, and I'm like,
nothing
no,
that
I
they're
know
supposed to
some.
be eating.
They're supposed to be eating meat.
When have you ever seen a dog run up to a garden and start eating some peas?
Yeah, I mean, Piper
Ooh,
liked her
peas.
carrots. Piper
Yum.
liked her carrots, and her broccoli. Those chunks from the broccoli. She would gnaw on them, but no, we made
My
sure that they
dogs
got
never
food.
liked that.
We
And
would stuck her
anytime that
nose
they
up
would eat
at it,
something
but
like
I
that,
go
it was
back in.
because it was mixed in with a piece of stew from it had gravy on it or something. That's
But
not,
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I just get very just,
Hmm.
I'm always going to stand behind what's right with animals. And it's like, I just hate it when people are, it's a privilege.
Yeah. And I know Blue Buffalo, even though I think there's been some controversy with them,
There's been
I
a
don't.
lot.
But they claim that they're like the brand that uses the most meat in their dog food. I don't. To me, that's the only, you know, brand that I'm aware of that, because going to the store, you would see the cost of it
That's
go,
a grocery
oh
store
my
brand.
God. Well, now it's become grocery store, but I remember back in the day, it was so, well, it's more expensive than the others. And I'm thinking, well, it says there's supposed to be more, meat. But, like I said, I don't have dogs now. But if I were to get a dog again, definitely would look differently. Now, are there any dog brands that do better than Blue Buffalo, that's on the market, or is it
I'm not going to
just,
talk about brands
okay,
on here, but yes, yes.
well,
I
then
cook for my
keep your
dogs.
research. Yeah,
I'm
you
not
cook.
touting for dog food.
Mm, there you go. And when we had to feed the dogs at the animal shelter, we had to feed them whatever was donated. So these dogs were getting some days Old Roy from Walmart, and then we would get some good brands, and so oh, the diarrhea on some days. I felt bad for the puppies and some of the dogs, but we had to
You
go
can
by what
easily
was
find
going
out
on.
about brands by just going online. And if you have any question about any brand, I mean, that information is there. Like any of those brands that have ever had any kind of issue, it's online. You
So
just got to look for it. That's the thing. And a lot of people don't. They just buy whatever they're sucker for advertising, just like regular food.
well, so many places say we use natural, like they're reading deboned chicken for, I think it was Blue Buffalo or for another brand, and then you still look and you still see all this other stuff in it. So yeah, and if you go buy vet food, that costs twice as much. So what about Fresh Pet? Have you ever given the dogs that Fresh Pet that they advertise? That's supposed to
I
be
cook for
fresh.
my dogs.
So she just cooks, okay, straight up cooking for the pups. All right, but yeah, I know Fresh Pet's been
Research
popular.
your pet food though, you guys. I mean, if you're not gonna cook for them, and I realize most people aren't going to, and that's perfectly fine, but research your dog. It's really important that you feed your dogs good quality food. It just
Now,
is.
is the same for cats, do you think? If you were to have a cat, would you cook for the cat too? Like you do with the dogs, or would you do a cat food?
I would open up a can of sardines and tell them to go for it.
Yeah, Mozzie sticks his nose up at it. Him and Ziva. When we tried doing the sardines before we left New York, they wanted nothing to do with it. They were just like, ugh, and they walked away from it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're supposed to want
I can't
this.
tell you what that was about, but if you take a cat and you fed it cat food for 20 years and then you offer it one sardines one time and it doesn't want to eat it, I hardly would give up
Hmm. Yeah.
because they've been eating the same thing. And, it's just like any kind of adjustment to a palate. I mean, it's not going to be any different with an animal than it is with a person.
And she and him just stuck their nose up at it, and
But
Shannon's
they
like,
can
well,
have
I'll
meat,
eat
they
it.
can have eggs, they can have, I mean, we've been brainwashed that they have to eat. I mean, come on, you guys. We brought them out of the wilderness and brought them into our homes. They can eat. They don't have
Some
to eat what comes out of a crinkly bag.
Sometimes Ziva would eat eggs, but most of the time, Mozzie sticks his nose up at the eggs. Every now and then he likes the hamburger. We'll give him, we'll share the chicken. We'll give him some hamburger, but the things like the sardines, the tuna fish juice, oh my God, he loves that.
Right.
But
So
eggs and things
tuna.
and stuff,
I'm just saying, I mean, you can
Mhm.
do whatever you want. I'm just saying it's healthier for them to eat their natural diet.
And he's getting older. He's 15 now, so I've been thinking about supplementing that cat food with, maybe some more meat, some more tuna, something like that. We were giving them that baby food, Gerber's baby food, that was recommended by the animal shelter that helped us because he had to have all of his teeth removed 3 years, no, it's more like 4 years ago. And they said, you know, the baby food, the Gerber, the beef, the chicken, the turkey, it's high in protein, and he'll be able to eat that until his gums heal and he can eat hard food. But him and Ziva ended up loving that stuff. But then when I was looking at the jars, I noticed, look at
Just
the
remember, they gotta
sugar.
have fat. They gotta have fat.
And then I looked and I saw the sugar and I'm like, oh crap. So, you know,
There was
yeah.
sugar in what?
The Gerber baby food, I noticed because I started looking at sugar content when I started learning about sugar for me
For
when I was
there
young.
was sugar in the chicken
No, the Gerber baby food that we were giving them.
that was meat.
That beef, you know, it was supposed to be
There
beef
shouldn't have been any sugar in that at
flavor,
all. There is
turkey.
no sugar in meat. Zero.
So,
That's why you read the ingredients. Yeah,
yep. And so,
that's not that's some see that's what I'm saying. It's a perfect example. There is no sugar in meat.
so
None.
we stopped
Zero.
giving him. We stopped giving it to him. I mean, we gave it to Ziva, you know, to help her with her digestion as she was getting older and when she wasn't well. But after she passed, it was just like, yeah, no more baby food. No, we'll just stick with, you know, the iams for his urinary tract, and then we give him and
So the
share
most
meat and stuff and whatnot for
the
him.
most cost effective meat right now that I've seen, and I do mix it up for them, but like right now I'm giving them chicken legs. All I gotta do is put them in crock pot or the slow cooker crock pot with water and cook it overnight on low, like 6, 8 hours, whatever. The whole thing just falls apart. You just pull all the meat off of it, and there you go. And put some of the juice on it, and they get plenty of meat and fat.
We might see, because I know Shan's been wanting to get a crock pot, so we may start doing that. We should. So.
And they like beef too, and I'll do beef too. But like right now, we're doing chicken because Lulu loves chicken. I'm just trying to appease her right
Oh,
now.
Mozzie loves the turkey and the chicken. Sometimes the beef, he goes, yeah, I don't want any hamburger.
Just make
Steak,
sure that
though.
you're using fatty cuts. You know, obviously ground beef is fatty. And you don't want to do
That's
too
good.
much fat because that can upset them. But there has to be some fat if they're not getting any kind of carbohydrate. And let's not forget, they are not supposed to run on
Night,
carbs.
Tom. Thanks for hanging out.
So, but anyways, yeah, I gotta go too. I'm
I
like
know, I noticed,
so
I keep
tired.
forgetting the 3 hour difference. So,
Yeah, I gotta get some sleep.
everybody,
So
thank you for hanging out with Allison and I tonight. It was a fun time, good discussion, and it was good because this is the only time I get to see my girl during the week. We talk and text during the week, but this is the time I get to hang out with the girl and catch up and chat and see each other. So everybody, thank you again. We hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
bye, everybody.